for that narrative. But women don't operate in the mind frame that men can cause them harm at any time. At any moment in time, a man can harm, like literally harm, like knock a woman's head off her shoulders, like just because they're a
especially when
man.
women are drunk. Yeah,
So
they
it's
be
just like women
crazy.
don't perceive that danger
the men
right
that
there.
you argue with on panels, Aaliyah, do you feel like they're gonna knock your head off?
Yes. It's like if we was if you see, because we're online, I have that protection. I have that protection because I'm online, so I can have that back and forth. But if we're in
but no,
I'm not arguing with no man.
But you do argue with men online.
You do.
So the same way that HAMP perceive,
the
same way, and I'm not finished. The same way that HAMP perceive, because of how I quote unquote act online, that in reality I wouldn't take correction. We could assume that you wouldn't either.
Right. Right.
That's fine. If you want to,
okay, wait.
That was never the argument that I made. So,
but that was my argument.
Yeah. So back to what I was saying. It just, I have that protection of being online, which is why I feel comfortable to go back and forth with men. Now, if we was in person, because I understand men can actually knock my head off my shoulders. I'm not arguing with a man in the same manner that I do, like, or people say that I do online. I'm not arguing with a man to that nature because I know he can knock my head off my shoulders, especially in person. So
well, that's the same
online
that I have.
Protection.
That's some
women don't
right
recognize women don't recognize the perceived protection that they have in society, which is why they just maneuver with men however they want. They don't perceive men as danger because of the installed protection in society. Society has made women feel so comfortable. Maybe they have
some of the same thoughts of how you feel about being online. That's a possibility. I mean,
if women,
because I'm the same, because I'm the same way. I will argue with a nigga down online, but I am not going to that same extent with a nigga that's in my face because I don't know that nigga and I don't know that nigga temperament. So are we the same?
Yeah, I guess if you want to be.
But how you do everything is how you do everything, right?
Yeah, exactly.
How you do everything is how you do everything.
How you do anything is how you do everything.
Yeah, whatever the saying is.
Yeah, but I just feel like it's about how you argue with men online. Like I can go back and forth with a man in real life. I'll go back and forth with a man, or like I'll have a conversation and I'll debate, but I'm not gonna be arguing with a man. I don't even get rowdy on panels.
So you better stop.
I'm not.
Girl, you from New York, you better stop.
But I'm not. So and I feel like I'm the same way.
So what's the difference between me and you? Cuss words?
Hold on. That you feel like you the same?
No, I feel like you get very like you get real strong and real emotional and real aggressive online, but I don't.
You
do too.
Online?
Well, that's your perceived, I guess. If I get aggressive,
it's perceived that way. It's perceived that way.
Well, I see. So what I see from Aaliyah online is that she's kind of measured. She doesn't get too much out of pocket in terms of her effect. And I think
Coco, we asked Aaliyah.
And you don't. And God forbid, Coco, we love you, but you don't be around the block all the time.
So she wait. Well, let Coco respond. Let Coco respond because Aaliyah respond.
Yeah, I'm just saying from what I've seen online. I don't know any other avenues, but from what I've seen from the different panels that I have seen Aaliyah on, she may go back and forth, and I don't think there's a problem with women and men having conversations going back and forth. But there's a difference between going back and forth and increased voice level and an attitude of I'm gonna do something to you, or I can do something to you. But going back to HAMP about going back to Saudi, when you talk about being unprotective, I don't think women understand. If you really felt you weren't protective, you wouldn't be as mouthy as you would. You would be super vigilant. You'd be super aware if you really thought you weren't that protected. Because no one who truly feels like they're protective goes off at the mouth, says whatever they.
Who are you? Who are you? Are you talking about me personally? Or
No. I'm talking about women in general. Because you said that women are, not you personally. I'm just talking about, particularly in the West, women in general have way more protections than they perceive. Because if you did not, you would not be, women generally would not be so at the mouth. There's no way. If you really felt that you weren't protected.
And you were so at the mouth at one point, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So then you felt when you were at the mouth, you didn't feel protected?
When I was at the mouth, I didn't care about protection. That's not what I was thinking about. I was thinking about, let me say what I need to say. Let me say what I want to say. I don't care about what's going on.
Right.
That's just the facts. I was just like, look, I'm gonna get it off. And thank goodness to the good men around me, because good men protected me from myself. When I was out and about being crazy, talking reckless, hey, yo, you need to chill. You need to chill.
Okay. Well,
I
Coco,
honestly think.
Go ahead, Tom.
I just honestly think that we put a lot. It just baffles me. We sit here on this internet and be like, oh, I think this person wouldn't do that. And I think this person wouldn't do that. It's like how someone acts on the internet and how they act in real life is two different people. We see that all the time. It's called persona. It's called YouTube. It's called this is the internet and it's a fucking show. So I'm just it just baffles me when someone sit here and say, well, I don't think Saudi would shut up and listen. But then when we give it back, it's like, oh no, she's this and she's that because
Because real talk, Coco, you did more than me in real life than what I've done in real life, despite however the fuck I am in these boxes.
I'm not even finished because I'm tired of my character being assassinated on this internet because the people who know me know me. They know my character, they know who I am, they love me, and they know Saudi is a vibe. She's respectful in person, and she's absolutely 100% more quiet than what she is on the internet. So I'll keep on let this stigma of Saudi being unruly, ghetto, not cooperative and submissive. We could continue that narrative. I'll be the bad guy. Maybe I am the drama.
Girl, bye. we all the same thing. Like we all.
I'll take the label the bad man.
But Kelly, I had to be corrected. I had to be corrected.
No, Coco.
And I never had to be corrected in that manner.
I had to be corrected.
Obviously, we are in a space of feeling protected, even if it is on the internet. So yeah, you're gonna do your rah thing. So you're not any different, Saudia, than the rest of us. If we all feel that way, that we have this protection because of the internet. And then when you go outside, you're like real nice and meek, and you ain't getting nobody together, Saudia. You ain't getting nobody together outside.
No, I'm just unruly. I'm the drama. I'll be the drama. Hate me as the bad guy.
Yeah. So what I said stands firm because I know that how you do anything is how you do everything, right? So when I say that, that's really key for me. You know, Callie and I had this conversation before because she was saying she's less likely to do things outside. I think the degree does lower, right? Because it's in person, face to face. However, to say that you're incapable of conducting yourself the way you do on the internet is just untrue. You know, because that's a part of us, you know, and so since it's a part of us, the likelihood it'll come out will depend on how often it comes out here too, right? So people can make an assessment about a person in totality, right? Remember, the world went virtual for 4 years, so the internet is a real thing. So that's how I kind of like predicate things on. Now, here's the thing, right? It was comparative, right? Now I would get it done, right? But I think I might have to push Saudi a little bit harder than I would have to push Callie. And I would have to push Callie a little bit harder than I would have to push Alexis, you know. But I'm going to get it done, right? She's going to be quiet, you know. But I might have to repeat myself a couple of times. That's all.
And thank God that your perception is not my reality. Because once again, in real time, when people had to tell me, and it wasn't even my fault. I wasn't even the escalator, the aggressor, or anything. I left.
You did good.
Every time.
Yeah.
When the drama came to me in real life.
You did good.
So like I said, your perception of me, HAMP, is your perception is not my reality.
Yeah.
So that's all I can say.
It's not a big deal. And I don't really care, right? We're having a conversation about the conversation. That's all. Right. So we're assessing what happens here, right? Because we're talking to 400 people. So based on what happens here, that's how I would scale it so people can understand. You know, but this ain't for
Well,
everybody. You know what I'm saying?